What's good? Welcome back to the Think Big podcast. We got another episode of Deal and No Deal. Got my brother Alejandro Alvarez with us, and your favorite smile on YouTube, Arch Sam Singh.
How you guys doing? I'm so sorry. I hit the back button like an idiot. Dude,
Good, bro.
Think Big is
up,
back
man?
at it. We're back at it, guys.
Right, bro. Super consistent. Episode 13, bro.
I'm a little bit sad though, man. I'm a little bit sad. You know why? Because there's four of us. There's four brothers who do this podcast, and right now we're missing one of ours. That is Mindset Marlon. And Mindset Marlon is actually on a plane right now. He's doing some amazing things, right? He just hung out with a billionaire. He's actually flying to go meet another billionaire. He's working on some billionaire stuff, elevating, right? As Mindset Marlon does. He's probably giving flight attendants some mindset training right now. That's what he does. So we're going to be missing him today. Marlon, if you ever watch this recording, we hope you are flying well and we miss you. But today we're back at it with one of my favorite things that we do, and that is Deal or No Deal.
Bro, you got to say it cooler than that, bro.
Dude, I mean, you know what? That show got canceled, so we're not, we're better than them. We're here. They're not. I'll say this though, guys. There's a reason why I love this series that we're doing, right? Because we're not talking about theory. We're not talking about deals that don't exist. We're not making up these things. Heck, on the first episode, I showed you guys promissory notes, deeds of trust, HUD, settlement statements, the whole nine, right? We want you guys to learn from actual deals. Why? Actual deals aren't perfect. We don't have all the variables that we need. Random stuff comes up. Stuff with HOA, stuff with liens, stuff with things that we didn't know. Heck, sometimes the sellers didn't even know. We want to show you how we handle these things, how we underwrite these things, how we play with margin because we're smart investors. And at the end of the day, we're going to get everyone's take on Alejandro. Would you buy this? Daryl, would you buy this? Sam, would you buy this? And if not, what else would you do with it? Because there's other things that we could potentially do. With that being said, our brother, the Brown Bruce Wayne, Alejandro Alvarez, has a deal for us to go over, man. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's hear about it.
Let's do it, man. So first and foremost, thank you guys for being here. Hope everyone is having an amazing start to their year. I certainly am. Lots of opportunities. I don't know what happened. It's kind of like God just clicked the button. He was like, here you go. Opportunities nonstop. Like literally like every single day there's a new opportunity, bro. And it's weird. It feels weird because like literally like a month ago I was like, oh man, I need X amount of leads. I need X amount of deals. And then now this month we're like, damn, should I slow down? It's one of those questions. I'm pretty sure Sam, Daryl, we all been there, man. Like, do we need to slow down? It's one of those things that, you know, as you grow, you start learning new things, and there's always a question. So you slow down, but you know me, guys, that's not even an option for me. So I'm having a lot of fun with these deals so far. Have a lot of partners coming in as well. How's it been for as far as like lead flow and deal flow for you, Daryl and Sam? Do you feel the difference in the air right now? Like,
so you go first, bro.
Hey man, here's my house. I remember you spoke to me three quarters ago. Here's my house. You guys feel that?
I think so, and I think it's because we prepare, bro, and I think it's because we put the work in constantly, and we put the work in for today 3-4 months ago, right? Like that's why we're getting these houses where people are just like, here, just take this, right? Or it just seems easy right now, you know. But that's because we've been putting the work in, we've been planting the seeds, and now they're starting to blossom, bro.
Right,
you're absolutely right. You know, that's critical, right? We built pipelines. As real estate investors, we're farmers, right? You reap what you sow. We planted seeds and we were nurturing. Alejandro was out there and he was, you know, watering the plants, and he was like, doing all the stuff that farmers do to make the plants grow right. Now it's coming up, and it feels like it's all coming up at once. But when you actually think about it, you've been building, right? You've been building and building and building, and that's why people think real estate is like a get rich quick game. It is not. It takes time, right? In pipelines, in the acquisitions game, there's a building the pipeline phase where you have to just fill that pipeline up. Then there's a point where you're just waiting, and you're following up, and you're building rapport, and you're building trust, doing all of these things. What is that? These things are called lead maturation or lead seasoning. That's sometimes what people call it. That means all that time that goes by for all of the sellers to be ready to a point where they want to make a decision. Alejandro's at that point right now where all of them are like, dude, take my freaking house, man. Please, we know you're trustworthy. We know that you're great. You got the best beard on YouTube. Like, just give me some money, take the house away. That's it. So, but the reality is, yes, man, the economy's shifting, the market's shifting, the real estate industry is shifting. At the end of the day, it's funny. I was talking to my older brother, and are we in a recessionary market? Yeah. Is it going to be pretty bad for a lot of people? Yeah. Is it going to be bad for us? To us, is it the end of the world? No. Why? Because we know basically a little bit about everything in this industry. We know about interest rates. We know how they work. We know how mortgages work. We know how to fix all these things. But the average everyday American, they don't know all that we know. They get their stance and their viewpoint and their opinion, their assumption about the economy and the marketplace and the value of their home, usually from one person, right? One person in their life. They're scrolling through Instagram and their influencer of choice makes a real bold post that says, hey, we're in a recession. The economy's crashing. Your home's not worth what it was anymore. That's it. That's their only data. One data point is what a lot of these sellers are operating off of. And they're freaking the heck out right now.
Do they think big, Sam?
Oh, do they think big?
Bro, they need to think bigger. That's it, man. Absolutely, guys. So Alejandro, the reality is, man, you've just been planting, right? You've been doing all the hard work, right? Guys, if you guys are new, this is the element of it, right? You can learn all that we teach you about how to do this business, but eventually you're gonna start generating leads, you're gonna fill a pipeline, you're gonna have to wait 2, 3, 4 months just to keep nurturing.
Yeah.
And then eventually there will be a harvest, right? Alejandro's there right now. We're dealing with this in our company. We're targeting extremely motivated list types, extremely motivated niche lists that not a lot of people have access to. Things like foreclosures, things like divorces that are super fresh. Those lists are going super hard right now. People are getting hammered on foreclosures. People who are going through divorce. Divorce is always bad as it is, but imagine a divorce in a recession where the home value drops drastically and you have two people fighting, trying to split the cake, right? It's all about positioning, guys. So that being said, Alejandro, let's kind of give us some context on this deal, man.
Dude, first let me explain to you what I have going on so far. So last year, closing this deal, this is the deal in Arizona. You know, the deal I was telling you about before Christmas. Had a realtor involved. And this realtor was like, oh no, this is illegal. There's no way this is possible. Luckily, I was one of those guys that told her, I will pay your full commission.
Ooh,
What do you mean this is illegal? I've done this multiple times.
how spicy.
And we had this conversation. We even self-perform with a realtor involved.
What's that mean?
Self-perform is initially when you do the whole, you're not using a title company. You just go out there and do it on your own. You through the CD, recording the documents on your own. Oh yeah. You can definitely do
title company.
Oh yeah. And the realtor definitely did not. She definitely did not want to do that.
Damn.
Yeah, I was about to say, man. I mean, like a lot of people, one, don't even know that that's a thing. Two, realtors typically, when they hear a new idea, realtors have this really bad habit of like head in the sand, right? When they hear a new idea. Yeah, you got a realtor to understand and accept and agree to you doing a self-performance outside.
Not just me. I'll be honest. I'm not going to take all the credit. I had an amazing TC on this deal. Shout out to Ashley.
Dope.
Like I already knew as soon as I saw a realtor involved, I'm like, yep, I'm hiring a TC. And I knew it was a VA loan. So I'm like, yep, I'm hiring a TC. I am not doing this paperwork by myself. I'm not going to walk this realtor to the through this paperwork. So thankfully, I had an amazing TC that I hired. Did I say that twice? That's hilarious.
You did.
What's up, bro?
Real quick, why did you self-perform, and why doesn't everybody self-perform on every deal?
Man, that's a great question. And you know what? I haven't really sat down and really understood, but I'll tell you why you would self-perform. A lot of title companies, they don't like to do VA or FHA loans. They really don't want to be involved in that scenario. So you have to self-perform in that. There are some title company attorneys that will do it. You just have to find them. Those are the unicorns.
Yeah, we have one that's doing a FHA for us right now, which is pretty surprising.
It's very time consuming too when you self-perform.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight, guys. And this is true. So challenging a lot of preconceived notions here. You don't need a title company. You don't need an escrow officer to get a transaction done. You just have to have two people with a signed agreement. You have to go to the county, right, and get the paperwork done. Title companies weren't always a thing. They're actually not required. They're a third party. But one thing that I love that Alejandro said that I want people to take into account is this. When you're dealing with a realtor, and a realtor typically can be skeptical, right? They can be a little bit skeptical of transactions, especially if you're pitching creative finance. It's not necessarily that they're skeptical of the theory. They're probably not even allowing to even process the theory. They're skeptical of you. They don't know you. They don't trust you, right? You have no relationship with them. If one of your friends that you love near and dear, they come to you with a new idea, you're going to process it. You're going to think about it. You're going to consider it and give it its fair shot. If a stranger that you've never met before cold calls you in the middle of the day and offers up a thought process or a new way of doing things that you've never heard of, your guards are up. This is natural. And a way for you to combat this as new investors is leverage third parties. We talk about third party stories when you're talking to sellers. Leverage third party credibility. Not third party stories with sellers, but we use a transaction coordination company. I know that sounds really fancy, but what they're doing is they're actually a third party, right? We actually pay them separately. We cover their costs. What they'll actually do is they'll handle the entire escrow process. They'll walk you through the entire paperwork. They'll work side by side with you, and they'll work with the escrow officer, with the self-performance XYZ. Guess what this is allowing you to do in your conversation with the realtor? You are allowing yourself to take a step away. You're deflecting responsibility to a neutral third party. That sounds professional, it sounds reasonable, and it makes a lot of sense. And that's what realtors want. They want credibility, right? That's a great freaking way to do credibility. This is a little bit of a tangent, but when I talk about when people are like, oh, what if you miss payments? What if you, on a creative finance deal, like how do we ensure that you're making the payments? I love talking about third party, and I'll always say third party loan servicing companies. We actually use third-party loan servicing companies like Westar, like Evergreen. You can actually go look them up, right? Go Google. I'm not telling you guys. I would tell this to the realtor. I'll tell this to the seller. Go Google Westar Loan Servicing. You'll actually see them come up. They're all over the country. They're big. They do this all day in, day out. We use them for all of our transactions. It's a really cool dynamic when you do this, guys. What'll end up happening is they'll realize there's arbitrary, objective, neutral third parties involved. That can only happen if this is above board. Because people who do things not above board, they don't want anyone else involved, right? They don't want third parties. They don't want neutral responsible entities. They just want to kind of keep it under covers and under, behind closed doors. Don't make it very clear. Everything we do, there's title companies, transaction coordinators, they're different. We don't own them, right? They're their own company. You can look them up. Loan servicing, loan modification companies that we don't own, they're other companies. You can go look them up. One of the most powerful things you can do.
Bro, that's so good, bro. Because we do that, right? We do that, and I teach the team to do that, but I've never thought of it that way. That if there's obviously another business set up strictly for this, why would it be illegal? This is you can look this business up. And I even show people sometimes, like with seller finance and stuff, when they're like it's illegal. I send them directly to the tax book. I'm like, go look up installment sale on the IRS website and come back and tell me what you find. And they're like, oh crap, right? So if there are public documented businesses and just things out there that are assisting us to make our job a lot easier. Of course, this is legal, right? So explain that to your sellers and realtors when you get those objections. So good. Alejandro, you were going somewhere with that though.
Yes, I was going somewhere. So that same realtor, I paid her $15,400 and some change on that deal, and I paid $30,444 to the seller on that deal. Right, there's a little bit more stuff into that deal, like some entry fee, like acquisitions, holding costs, and all this stuff. But what's crazy, literally about 2.5 weeks later, that same realtor. And the reason why she went ahead with this deal is because she couldn't sell it on the market. First of all, she had it on the market for $540 or something like that. Couldn't sell. The seller had to move. They had to move to a different state. And she even gave us a testimonial, which is great.
Nice.
She was like, if it wasn't for creative finance, my seller would not be able to buy another house for him and his family. And 2.5 weeks later, she sends me another deal instantly, low equity. This is a 2022 built property that was bought 6 months ago. She already knew this guy had no equity. What do you think she did? Immediately, hey, I got a deal for you. And guess how much the seller's getting? $500.
Wow.
$500.
Dang.
And that was like a moment of realization right there. Like, man, imagine if I tried to negotiate with this realtor on her commission on that house. Would she have brought me this deal? I wonder if she would. So it's one of those questions, like, you feel like it's just almost like a sign, like you were doing the right thing all along.
That's so good.
And now we got a house that, has I think it's a 2.25 interest rate or something like that. I don't really remember.
Did she give you? Did you negotiate with her on this deal?
Actually, I did.
As you should, my guy.
Yeah, actually, I did. I did on this one because she tried to ask for like $19K.
Baby,
commission. We went down to 14. She was like, here's what I can do. So okay, great. I actually did.
I'll say this, guys. This is one of the most important things that was ever taught to me in the world of business. And it's really important. And this goes to what Alejandro just did in that first time. Now he's negotiating, right? It's better to negotiate when you have rapport, when you have trust, when you have familiarity. Then if Alejandro brings me a deal and he's charging me 20 grand on assignment, and I'm like, Alejandro, you didn't do crap for this deal, bro. And I'm like, bro, I need to pay you 5 grand. He's not going to hate me for it, right? Why? Because we're friends. We have trust. We have rapport. We have a relationship. So the second time he's able to do that, but the first time, notice what he did. It's a principle that was taught to me a while back. And the proverb essentially is this: don't step over dollars for pennies. It's one of the most important things that I've ever learned in entrepreneurship. And it's tried and true in my real estate business, in my data business, and my JV partnerships, and everything that I do. Hell, I'm the guy that these guys made fun of for paying someone $10,000 for giving me a phone number, right? Why? That $10,000 give the first time, that's an investment in a relationship that will pay me dollars for years, right? Alejandro's going to have this person come back and come back and come back and come back. He turned that one deal by giving her what she needed, right? Turning that one deal into 10 deals over the next couple of years, right? Or more, hopefully a lot more. So, okay. So with this deal,
real quick, Sam, let me jump in there because that's so good what you just said. Just not burning bridges in general, right? Like, don't negotiate yourself out of a relationship, a long-term relationship. I have a actual experience with this, right? I have a dispo partner. This lady, she's really, really good at dispo and deals, and we do a lot of JV deals together. It was at one point when I first started, she owed me some money from a deal, and she was like, it wasn't even a lot of money. It was $800, and she was. But look, I didn't have it. I was broke at the time, bro. Like, I needed that $800. You know what I'm saying? So she couldn't pay me at the time, and I was like pissed. And I was like, I cut her off. I stopped talking to her. I stopped sending her deals, everything, over $800, right? And then one day I just came to my senses. I'm like, you know what, Daryl, you're stupid. Like, $800? Are you serious? So I ended up getting that relationship back, like reaching out to her, apologizing for that. She sent me my $800, and and we still do deals to this day. Like we actually just closed on a deal last week, and we've closed over 6 figures together alone. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
So do not burn bridges and always go for the relationship. Because when you have and Alejandro, he's probably going to talk about this. When you have a army of people that are looking for deals for you, that you don't have to, you don't have to do anything for, you don't have to pay them for until the deal is done. It's such a magical thing.
Yep.
I want to get back to the deal specifically, but I need to highlight that. Who's the best in the world at doing exactly what Daryl just said? Investing in other human beings and creating an army of people who will go find you deals and you just win in the long term. Who's the greatest ever at it? It's the person who brought us all together. Shout out Pace Morby. You're a badass. All right, dude, let's get to this deal, man. Give us some specifics, bro. I want to know.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So let me put a little story behind. You guys want to hear a little story? I'm just get straight to the point.
Nah, bro, you got the floor, dog.
Tell me stories, Bruce Wayne.
Here's the interesting part of this deal. This deal was brought to me from, I'm not going to say his name. Him and I have a really good relationship now. But he brought me this deal. And first time he sent it to me, I think he was asking for a $20K assignment fee. And if the deal makes sense, whatever. I don't care what you're making. If the cash on cash return, if it fits my buy box criteria, I don't care about what you're making. But when it's a deal that does not cash flow, the seller is in arrears, facing foreclosure, and the seller's only getting $2,500, and you're asking a $20K assignment fee, I'm going to deny you immediately. So instead of me, being like, hey, bro, I'm just going to block you. Don't send me any more deals. What I did was I actually did a loom. I think it was like a 13-minute loom on why you shouldn't send me deals like this anymore. Right. And then I sent them the loom. I'm like, hey, here's how you figure out what your assignment fee would be in a deal. I did the whole loom for them. If anyone wants it, let me know. DM me on Instagram and I will send you the loom video. That way it will show you how you can figure out what your assignment could be. And I sent them the loom. And then I also told him, hey, I'm not interested in doing business with you. And then he said, well, why? I want to learn why. Like, why are you not interested in doing business with me? I was like, well, read your entry fee and tell me what does it tell you about yourself. Your seller, first of all, when I told him, hey, I'm not the buyer, I need to be around 10K all in. He was like, oh, I'm just going to continue shopping for a higher assignment fee. Keep in mind, the seller's behind on payments. The seller's only getting $2,500. I'm like, hey, bro, I don't want to do business with you anymore. And he was like, why? What's going on? And I told him, just read that. And I gave him a voice memo. I'm like, hey, bro, it's making you look like a very greedy individual. Like, are you really in it to help people or are you in it to make money? It's two complete different things. And either or, I don't have a problem with either or. Me personally, that's just my vibe. I'm in it to help people. And if you're being greedy about money when someone is facing a distress situation like foreclosure and they're only making $2,500, I really don't want to do business with you. That's just me. I want to keep my surrounded with positive vibes. And he was like, oh man, I get it. No problem. And 2 weeks later, he came back. Hey, do you still want that deal? I'm like, what happened? What's going on? He's like, man, I thought about what you said and it really made sense. And I don't want to burn this relationship. It goes back to what you and I were just talking about. So I'm all in 10K into this deal. He's making like a $5,800, $5,000 assignment fee. The seller's making $2,500. I got to catch up the arrears. And now I got that deal on the contract. It's actually listed on the market right now with a realtor. Unfortunately, we can't share addresses, but I did put a little wrap thing together here. I'll show you guys this deal. Let me see if I can show.
While you do that, I'd like to interject for anyone that's new. We like sharing addresses. We do. We started off doing that. I showed you guys addresses. I showed you guys title information. Showed you everything. YouTube and Instagram do not like us doing that. They do not like us showing addresses because they don't know if it's a property. They don't care if it's a property that we own or not. They think that we may be putting someone else in danger by showing addresses. So which is why we can't.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's pretty much the story behind that deal. It's just interesting, bro. Like how you can really help someone. Like sometimes, you know, you can't just judge someone and just tell them, hey man, F off. Like actually teach them a lesson. Hey bro, this is why people like me will not do business with you. You know, that could be very valuable because maybe someone hasn't told them, hey, you're effing up here. Like you need to realize what you're doing. And first of all, how are you gonna ask 20K on a deal that doesn't cash flow, bro? Are you serious? How does that work?
Alejandro, I mean, the reality is more than likely that person doesn't have any ill intent. They're probably not a malicious human being.
Yeah.
They may be newer. They probably just didn't really know any better. And they're just doing, honestly, let's be honest, they're doing what YouTube told them to do. Put a big assignment fee on it, see what the market says. If you don't get the answer, then you drop it last minute. And then if no one sells, then you just pull out last minute because your due diligence period. With experience and us actually doing this, we know that's the worst thing to do. That is how you, like, you know, basically blacklist yourself as a bad person, as a bad wholesaler. So what really was important is that Alejandro didn't tear this person apart. He kind of just showed him the light. And he said, hey, here's what's happening. Here's what this looks like. I know you may not realize it, but this is what it actually looks like to me, an experienced, legitimate buyer. If you keep this up, man, love to you, but I just don't see it working out for you. Until you get this figured out, I'm just going to take a step away. Nothing personal. I'm just going to go do what I got to do.
Yeah.
The cool thing is this person seemed to, in a very short amount of time, internalize that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they probably also had other buyers saying, no, this is not a deal, or leaving them on red, right? They were getting market feedback. Then they came back to you, right, seeing the light. So that's the fact that you gave them that grace speaks highly of you.
Yeah.
That's why he ended up getting the deal in the relationship, because everybody else probably cursed him out.
Yeah. Hey, I don't blame him if he got cursed out, man, but he probably needed to experience that to know that, you know what, maybe Alejandro was right. Maybe I was wrong.
Yep.
So good turnaround. Let me see if I can do just a tab here. Ooh, no, I want to do Windows. Let me see. Okay.
Sam, while Alejandro is doing that, when is the next time people can see the origin story? When is that? When do those things come out?
The origin story will be, we actually just dropped an episode. We're actually having to redo that one, but the origin story featuring Stratton Brown, who is a 28-year-old former D1 college football player from Fresno State, went to the same school as me. He and I were at the same school at the same time, which is crazy. And we didn't actually meet each other. And we met each other in real estate. He's doing some amazing things. He basically went from dead broke to doing $2 million in revenue in like a freaking year and a half. Crazy story. But that one's actually live on the originstorypodcast.com. You can see it on Spotify, on Apple. Ooh. And then we're doing some big stuff on YouTube. It's gonna take a little bit of time, because greatness isn't built overnight, guys. It takes a bit of time. I mean, let me turn that right back on you, bro. When is Wholesale Hard Knocks? I'm like, I feel like I haven't gotten my fix of Wholesale Hard Knocks yet.
Ooh.
Wholesale Hard Knocks is mañana, tomorrow, at 5:00 Arizona time. Bro, did we confirm? Are we locked in, bro?
No, you actually left me on red. So
oh shit.
So guys, just so you guys know, I actually formally applied to show up on Wholesale Hard Knocks, and then they didn't say, yeah, Sam. They didn't say, no, you're not good enough. They actually they did something even worse. They left me on red.
Sam, you know I didn't mean it, bro. I suck at texting that time. My bad, bro. My bad. Would you is the invites like, are you still open, bro? Can you join tomorrow?
We'll talk after this, bro.
All right, yo. Let's get it. Alejandro, into this deal, bro. Hold on.
Bro,
my bad. I think I messed up your share, bro.
It's okay. No worries, man. Cool.
There we go.
So let's see here. You make this bigger. Cool. So the left side's going to be the first contract, and then the right side's going to be the second contract. I just try to freestyle it. They don't want to make it too complicated. You guys ever seen like those Excel sheets that had all these colors, all these numbers, all these codes? Dude, that gives me anxiety, bro. I'm like, can we just simplify this, please?
Yeah.
Like we have like an all-in calculator. Super dope, but not for me. Cool. So the buy price on this deals is 177, 485. Anyone wants to guess why exactly those weird numbers?
No equity.
Sub 2. This is a sub 2 deal.
Sub 2.
This is the existing mortgage on the loan. The entry fee is 27,119. I'll explain that here in a bit. The PITI is 1868. Now it's a little bit more complex. It has a solar loan involved in there. So this is part of the solar payment. So it has electricity involved already, which is some of the wrap buyers we're talking to, they're pretty excited about it. ARV on this house is 280. Could have been a good cash deal, couldn't? What do you think? What do you think, Sam? In this market, would you do that?
I mean, is it in decent enough condition?
It's all right. It's outdated, but not too outdated. Like maybe updated.
I think with the right investment and maybe some cleanup, right? Not calling this a pig, but the lipstick on a pig type thing.
Yep.
With proper marketing, the proper agent, right? Or as a cash wholesale. There's definitely buyers out there that possibly could have made this work. Again, I don't really know exactly how much rehab is needed. There are extremely aggressive buyers doubling down right now. But to be honest with you, I look at that as an opportunity, right? And I view a cash sale as a one-time hit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm thinking that's a one-time hit. And if you're hurting for money right now as an investor, like you need money coming in to pay your bills, that may be what you do, right? But Alejandro is kind of playing a different game right now.
Yep.
Right? Alejandro doesn't need $10,000 checks every month. Like that's not his thing. He doesn't need those little hits coming in to pay the bills. He's taking care of that. He's out of that season. He's in a different season now, and that's building long-standing wealth. So I think the wrap, right? Because the PITI is a little bit high, especially with that 4.25 rate. It's decent, but I could see how it would mitigate cash flow potential. I think going the wrap route is probably the better route.
And I'll tell you why as well. It wouldn't be good at fix and flip. I don't have it on here. There's a 30 grand loan on the solar that I just included the PITI, but we'll get to that here in a minute. So if you do a fix and flip, I mean, best case scenario, you probably net 15K maybe with a lipstick. Because it's a good area. It's a good area that you can sell the house pretty quickly. But let's move along here with the interest rate is 4.25 on the loan. Here's my entry fee breakdown. Cash to seller, $2,500. Arrear, $1,650. They're behind a payment. Cost of acquisition, $5,869. It's really that exact because I told the wholesaler I want to be 10K all in this deal. So my entry fee with the wholesaler, cash sellers in the rear is 10K if you add these up. Closing costs, $2,600. Renovate, $3,000. I'm just gonna probably clean it up, maybe paint the walls. So keep in mind on wraps, you don't have to touch it. You don't have to clean it up. You don't have to do anything. You can just slap it on the market. But for me, I like to attract a different type of wrap buyer. And that wrap buyer is someone that has a family and can walk in the house and be like, wow, I can get this house without going through a mortgage. It's already painted. It's already cleaned up. I want this house. Because when you have a house that, it's all gutted, has carpet stains, weird colors. I just bought a wrap in Odessa, Texas. They had it legit. One room had yellow painted. The other room had light blue. One had red. Dude, it drove all the wrap buyers nuts. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take this down, clean it up, put it back on the market, which it is now. And it's getting a lot of attractions. But
can I interrupt for just a minute? I want to highlight something that you said. See, this is what I love about Alejandro, guys. He says like really impactful, really insightful things, but then he doesn't actually talk about what the heck he just said, because what he said is super insightful and super important. He basically said he wants to attract a higher, a different tier, let's just say, of wrap buyer, right? A different tier who's going to pay a higher price point. Let's be honest here, guys. Who are rat buyers most of the time? They're people who just can't qualify for a bank loan for whatever reason, right? It's usually because credit, usually because banks don't view them as financeable, right? But these are normal people. These are people who work 1099s. Maybe they just Uber all day. That doesn't sound like they're making a lot, but I mean, shoot, if they're Ubering in a good place, they can make a ton of freaking money. I know Uber drivers who make more money than me, and it makes me wonder what I'm doing with my life sometimes. So the reality is, rat buyers, these are people who, they're not buying this to rent it out, right? They're buying this to live in it.
Yep.
This is a homestead. And the thing about homestead buyers, they want to walk in the house. They're not thinking of, oh man, I want to start repairing this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I need to get it to look like this so we can rent it out. They're not investors. This isn't a business for them. They're thinking, can I live here? They're walking through the living room in their mind. They're already imagining furniture. They're imagining a coffee table, their couch, their TV, right? Their dining table. Can I cook in this kitchen as it is? And if there's too much work that needs to be done, right? Carpet's ugly, it's disgusting, it's dingy, it's paint's all. I just bought a house that has palm trees painted in a freaking bedroom for some stupid reason. Like, if you take a rat buyer through there, all of those roadblocks, right? When they're walking through the house, it's going to make it that much harder for them to envisioning themselves living in it. Your goal with a rat buyer, this goes for realtors too. Great realtors will tell you this. Their goal with the house to have it show ready for an open house is for people to walk into it and immediately have no problem imagining themselves living there. If you can get the sellers to do that, they're operating from an emotional standpoint, and you're typically going to get more buy-in. You're going to get a higher sale price. You're going to get the type of person that you're looking for. So, dude, I'm sorry. I just had to.
You're good. No, you're good.
Huge. You understand your clientele so well by doing that.
Yep. Because, you will have rat buyers that will buy houses that need work. Those are typically like contractors that want to do the work themselves and live there, because they can't prove, they don't have a W-2, so it will be very difficult for them to get approved through a loan. But not looking for a contractor. Whenever they're looking for a wrap deal, they're probably going to ask you for a discount so they can fix all the stuff that needs to be done in the house, and I don't want that. So the marketing is $5,000. I have a realtor here in Texas that does flat listings for me. In Texas, anything in the DFW area, she charges me $5,000. Guess what? She takes the pictures, she does the showings, she puts the bandit signs on the house. She also talks to the buyers for me. All that, $5,000, well worth it, 1,000%. And then my holding costs, which is typically just the mortgage payments, solar payments, electricity, gas, all that stuff for the next 3 months. I always have like a 3-month room whenever I raise capital for these deals. So that's where the 6,500 came from. So that's why my entry fee is 27,119, which is still less than 10% of the ARV, a little bit under it. Cool. So now here's what I'm selling this deal for. I'm selling it for $335,000.
Right.
$50,000 down payment. The PITI is 25.51, and the rate is 7%. Okay, so you can see my little breakdown here up front. Here's how much money I make up front. First of all, I'm going to make $23,000, $131 up front. Where is that money coming from? It's coming from the down payment that my rat buyer is bringing in, and it's going to subtract the entry fee that I have, which is $27,119. It's going to wipe out my lender, the holding costs, all that good stuff. And then I get paid up front $23,131. And the equity, as soon as I sell this house, I just magically made $107,000 worth of equity into this deal. Okay. As soon as I sell this to a buyer, is $107,000 of equity in this deal. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that equity. Okay. But the cash flow on this deal is going to be $683 a month. And here's how I break this down. In year 5, I'll have $126,000 worth of equity, $40,970 worth of cash flow. In 10 years, 150. In 15 years, 142. Right? And then total, this is how much I made total in 10 years. This is, again, if you have a rep buyer, keep in mind, guys, you're not the owner, so they can refinance you out, right? It could be, they can refinance you out in 5 years, 10 years. But there's people that legit, they cannot refinance you out for the next 30 years. And you might even have that deal for a very long time. So in 10 years, over the length of 10 years, $255,000 is what I've made. Over the length of 15 years, is $288,000. I don't know about you guys, but me looking how much money I'm going to be bringing in 10, 15 years excites me way more than what I make today.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
That's
So as you can see, the equity kind of builds up a little bit here. And I want to show you guys how that worked. So if you can see here, this is Carl's mortgage calculator. For the first 10 years, like check out all the stuff in the red is my interest. My principal pay down starts to become a lot earlier than my wrap buyer. Look at this. This is all interest payment. All interest payments for my wrap buyer. So if you can see, so you can see here in 10 years, in 2033, let me zoom out a little bit. In 2033, their balance is 274. In 2033 over here for me, which would be a little bit different because this one already had 5 years in. So I'm going to bring it all the way down to 2038. My balance is 128. That's built-in equity, guys.
Wow, bro. What do you mean by built-in equity? What does that mean?
The difference between the loan balance that I have on the existing mortgage and the price I sold it for.
Okay. Marty just asked a really good question. He says, what if you have a lot of equity off the bat on a subject to, do you just sell it once you get the deal locked hotel?
You can. I wouldn't.
I would not. I think one, if there was enough equity for you to be able to do a wholesale on and you're trying to recapture or capture that equity standpoint, you may as well just assign it and not have to worry about dealing with the funds to hold, because to wholesale, you have to come up with PML. You're going to have to be able to close it. PML is going to get a chunk paid out. There's a lot of moving parts there. Yeah. I don't know that would be necessarily worth it on a creative wholesale. Now, if you had a ton of equity and it was a cash transaction, it'd be a different thing, right? I typically don't recommend wholesaling a creative finance deal unless there's like a ridiculous upside and you need money now. If there's a ton of equity, I would want you, honestly, I recommend closing on it and leveraging the heck out of that equity, right? Yep. Get P&L to get into the deal. Soon as you can refi, right? As soon as the rates make sense or whatever, you can use the refi non-taxable income to pay out the PML. Now you don't have them in the deal. And then you can actually keep leveraging that equity standpoint via a refi, right? Pulling that equity out, or via even a HELOC, which is not something a lot of people even talk about too much, because a HELOC is a very powerful tool if used correctly. I think it would be short-sighted to get that deal and sell it.
Yep. So that's the exit on that. So my question to you, Mr. Sam, 15 years, if someone tell you, hey man, you make $288,000, will you do this deal? Bro,
yeah, I wish like people presented me deals that way, right? And assuming that they're not lying. Bro, this deal is fantastic. This deal is freaking fantastic. And you know, it's funny because the flip side of this was potentially making a $5,000-$10,000 wholesale check.
Yep.
Right. But with a wrap, which allows you to get a good amount of chunk up front, right, to cover your entry fee on it. And also that just principal pay down. You get money on the cash flow because you have a higher interest rate, because I think you had a 4 something underlying, and then you were going to sell it to the wrap buyer at a 7, right? That differential, right? Alejandro, is that differential just pure money for you?
Yep. I mean, it's just spreading the amount of difference that I have in the balance.
Yep, absolutely. And you're just at that point, you are printing money.
Yep.
And then it's a really kind of interesting prospect, right? You have another buyer, whether it's a tenant or a buyer or a homeowner, whatever it is, you have that person basically crowdfunding your retirement. They're printing your income for you while you're sleeping. right? If you sold this deal for $5, $10, even $50, $20,000 right now, right? You're going to make that check right off the bat. Boom, IRS comes in. IRS comes in, takes a good amount of it. I live in California. California is going to come into it. You walk away with a lot less. And then guess what? You're going to reinvest it into marketing. It's gone. It went away faster than it came. But with a wrap on that exit, it's going to pay you while you're sleeping. 2 months later, you're getting paid. 3 months later, you're getting paid. 3 years later, if you're getting paid. Like, that's power. There is power to that. Guys, I think there's a lot of, especially on the YouTube space, right? A lot of people talk about wholesaling. We talk about wholesaling. Wholesaling is a great, great, great strategy. But all of us are young, right? We're all in our mid-20s right now, including Marlon, even if he's not here. Marlon, we miss you again. But the reality is this. I think all of us are in agreement right now that the smartest thing to do is to build wealth. If you're in a season where you need wholesale checks, right? You need to get rid of the deal, sell it off on a cash wholesale, totally fine, right? You need to get your business ordered. You got to get off the ground. But the second that you are able to start buying and holding, you need to do it. You need to do it. It accumulates, it compounds. After about a year of doubling down, you buy 10 properties. Guess what? Those 10 properties are going to keep paying you 10 years from now. This is powerful stuff. So I think it was Marty who asked it. Marty, dude, if you can keep that with that equity standpoint, keep it. There is power to that. There's power to wealth. And he's absolutely right. Marty, you do need more friends like us. Absolutely. Daryl, what's your take on that deal, man?
Hold on, time out real quick. Alejandro, how much money did you say you put into this deal again?
As far as to get the deal or my entry fee?
Like out of your pocket?
0 out of my
shit.
pocket.
All day, bro. All day. You telling me I can make $200K plus over 15 years and not put a dollar out of my own pocket into this deal?
Bro, that alone still sounds crazy till this day, bro.
To this day. Facts. Bro,
dude, you know what's really kind of crazy? There's a ton of real estate investors actually probably the vast majority of real estate investors don't even know what a wrap is.
They think we're talking about a snack wrap.
Exactly, right? They don't know what a wrap is, guys. Think about the power of that, right? Just by adding that one extra tool belt. I'm going to go off on a little bit of tangent here because I think it's really, really, really important. Guys, recessionary economy, right? Home values are going down. Home values go down. Equity goes down. If equity goes down, if all you know is a cash wholesale, your MAO goes down. If your MAO is lower than it used to be on average, you're going to lock up less deals. It is the law of, it's just a mathematical standpoint. It's a mathematical fact that you're going to get less deals by doing that. By adding wraps to his tool belt, Alejandro is just printing more money. By adding sub 2 seller finance hybrid to his novations to his tool belt, he's making more deals. He's offsetting the disparity in deals when in a recessionary market, when you have lower deal flow because of that, he's offsetting that completely by having way more tools in his tool belt. This is how you stand through, shout out to Grant Cardone who's doing the Unbreakable Challenge right now, right? Doing some really big things there. Tons of very, very important people who are there. But one thing they're talking about is how do you build an unbreakable business? Adding more tools to your tool belt as a real estate investor is how you build unbreakable wealth. So, dude, props to you for bringing that to the table because wraps are something that people really don't talk about.
Yep. You know what's crazy? I actually forget to mention something. This this deal, it has 25 years left on the loan, and I'm amortizing this deal to the wrap buyer for 50 years.
Dang.
Which means after 25 years, I'll still have another 25 years with a full-on cash flow.
That's awesome. Alejandro's like, please don't pay me off. Please don't pay me off. Please don't pay me off.
It is what it is, man.
Wow.
Why would somebody not do it? Why is this not like somebody's first option to go towards to do a wrap?
I think it depends on the phase you're in. If you need money right now, that's you're probably just gonna assign and get your assignment out of the way, get the assignment out of the way. But the crazy thing is with wraps, you can still get paid up front. You just have that, ooh, now I own a house for a little bit. Or sometimes you don't have to own the house if you wrap it before you close it. So that's kind of, I'm in the phase, bro. Like looking back 3 years ago, making 6 figures a year and still a year later having to figure out where the heck I'm going to get money to eat. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I figure out, number one, I was dependent on one source of income. Bro, I wish someone would just smack me across the face and just be like, dude, this is why you're going to go broke all the time, because you only rely on one source of income. And there's no cash flow. You have to work, like me working in a dealership. I have to work like as hard every single day so I can make that 6 figure every year. Now, when you get wraps, properties, cash flow, multifamily, now you can sleep. You're getting rich. You're getting wealthier while you sleep. Every time someone does a payment, you're getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. So that's this phase that I'm in. I want to be to a point where I can sleep and I can still make more money. So that's what I'm working towards doing. Man, these opportunities I have, like I think we're closing on. I would say in the past month and a half, I'm closing on about 11, 12 deals. I want to say. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro.
How many of those are with Creative Finance?
All of them. All of them.
And guys, it's not that he doesn't know, like he's good at cash. He could do cash. Cash is like child's play, right? The reality is cash just doesn't apply anymore. It's not the best thing to do, right? It's not the best for the seller. It's not the best for Alejandro. It's just not going to land. Sometimes the mortgage balances are so high that a cash deal just wouldn't work. Couldn't happen, right? Title would kill the deal in escrow. It just would not work. And with Creative Finance, he's getting 11, 12 deals in the last month and a half.
Yep.
Bro, dude, how many of those are you going to keep?
All of them.
All right, guys.
Are any of them in the hood, bro?
All of them, bro.
Are any of them in the hood?
That's a good question. Would you do raps in the hood? I think one of the one I have, it's actually in the hood. I didn't want that deal, but it came.
Why don't you care? Why don't you care if it's in the hood or not?
Because I'm gonna wrap it. I don't care. I'm not gonna do maintenance. I don't have to chase this guy down. If he defaults, I just do the whole thing over again. What do I care? So you
don't actually own the property anymore. You're becoming the bank, and
I am the bank. Yes, someone's gonna be in the bank at that house. Why can I get a piece of it?
So what's your bank name, bro? Batman Bank, Bruce Wayne Bank?
Bruce Wayne's Enterprises.
This is so with that, let's make that kind of clear for people. There's like seller financing, and this is kind of very similar to seller financing, right? Where you are basically, there's seller financing where the seller is financing a loan to you privately for the purchase of a home. This is a little bit different than that. Same but different, where Alejandro is not necessarily liable for the physical upkeep of that property. Right. If it's in the hood, if the roof goes to crap, if the flooring needs work later on, something happens, this happens, that happens, doesn't really affect him because it's not his problem. His problem is collecting checks.
Yep.
Powerful. Guys, what I want you guys to do is this. For anyone who actually, it's okay if you haven't done a wrap yet. Okay. It's totally fine. Spend the next week. Okay. In theory, if you guys are in a mentorship that allows you to kind of look into these things, then great, go there. If you don't, there's tons of free content. Not tons of really good stuff, but there is content out there for free that can help you get acclimated with understanding what a wrap deal is for the next week. Start looking into it. What does a wrap look like? How can I spot a deal that could potentially be wrapped a mile away just by doing that preliminary work? Of right, just knowing that, hey, I don't know how to do it, but I think this is going to be a wrap. Just by being able to spot and identify this opportunity, what can you then do? You can go leverage someone like Daryl over here, like Alejandro over here, like me, right? You can bring it to us. And you can say, hey, we were watching you guys on Think Big Podcast. You guys talked about wraps. Sam said to go look into wraps. I found a wrap. Can you help us? Can we JV on it? Can we work together? Yes. And then what do? You lean on Alejandro's amazing skill set. He will get that deal to the finish line. He'll carry you the entire way, show you how to do it. Congrats. Now you just added a multi-million-dollar tool to your tool belt.
So good.
Insane. Boys, as we wrap up, wraps are amazing. Not talked about nearly enough, and they're one of the most powerful things out there, especially right now in this market. My team is leveraging them very, very heavily. What do we got going on next week?
Ooh, what do we got going on next week? Did we went through all personalities already?
We went through all of them. I'm pretty sure we went through all of them.
No, I don't think we went through the yellows yet.
Oh, yellow.
We haven't done the last one.
Yeah, the yellows, right? So for anyone that's wondering, the yellow, in my opinion, is the most dangerous one. They're the ones that just talk. They talk and they talk and they talk. Love them. Love them. They're the sweetest. They're the most polite usually. They're the nicest on the phones. In my humble opinion, as a guy who runs sales teams and I care about optimization, I care about my team performing, they are the closer killer. Completely. There's reasons why I think next week, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we talked about that one yet, right?
We haven't.
No, we haven't. No, we talked about the reds, the analyticals, the steadies. Now we're on to the yellows. The yellows are the guys who just talk, okay? They're sweethearts, they're amazing, but they're dangerous if you don't know how to handle them right. They will take a lot from your business. So next week on Think Big, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Hopefully we'll have our brother Mindset Marlon back with us, because I can imagine Mindset Marlon going back and forth with the yellow seller, just the one who just won't stop talking.
He loves
Marlon gets them talking about mindset. It's never-ending loops. Takeaways, Daryl, as we wrap up, man, any final words for the folks?
Add some tools to your tool belt. If you don't know what the freak of rap was, if you had no clue what it was before today, and now your brain is open to what we can do out here, just to some things we can do out here, go find more knowledge. Follow these boys on social media. They're dropping knowledge all the time. The sauce is out there. The resources are out there. Go cause problems. Go cause problems.
Yep.
Alvarez.
Bro.
I mean, that's same thing, man. At tools. When it comes to real estate, again, guys, whenever I started real estate, it was all really about helping people. I've always had, I grew up like that. Thankfully, my mom showed me how to be helpful to people, how to be of value without, having a single cent in my pocket. And, when I first came into real estate, I ran into an issue where I couldn't help someone, and I was devastated. I was working for a wholesale company, and all we knew was just cash. And this lady had a mortgage and she's in distress. Please, can you help me? No, we can't, because we need to get the house at a discount. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And thankfully I found the answer. Myself, Sam, Daryl, we're part of the best mentorship in the planet, Sub 2 community. Literally all my questions were answered. And I probably only know about maybe 10-15% of the stuff that's in the Sub 2 community. Maybe if that, man. I think maybe less than 10%. And I feel like unstoppable right now. Just being honest with you. Like anytime I get on the phone with a seller, I feel like I will have a solution for you.
Let's go.
So get those tools under your belt. They're very important. You will need them in this market for sure. Because if you only know cash, I am sorry, you're going to get left behind.
If you only know cash, you're going to get left on your ass. And that's how we end the podcast today, y'all. Thank y'all for joining the Think Big podcast. Unless, Sam, did you have anything else for us, bro? My bad. That was pretty rude of me.
I'll just say this, guys. You don't know creative, you're being selfish. People need help, and cash ain't going to help a lot of them. Go. Fail forward, learn, mess up, learn some more, add some tools to your tool belt, be able to help more people. Stop being selfish, guys. Go out, do some epic shit. We'll see you next week. Peace.